Hello and welcome to Magnetic Woman. My name is Melissa Claire, and this video is for you. If you are a female entrepreneur, creative, you're professional, you have an amazing service or offer that you want to share with your audience, except you feel like when it comes time to become visible online, really show up for yourself, for your message, for your products, for your services, sometimes you feel like hiding. I get you, girl. I understand. And in this video, I'm actually going to be teaching you at the same time, sharing with you something that will help you to create more content. So this is actually called the origin story. Like, how did I begin in this process? I'm going to be sharing with you my story in hopes it encourages you to go out and share your story. Because my entrepreneurial career began as a photographer. I always dreamt to moved to Paris, be a big fashion photographer. I grew up in the streets of South Florida, late 90s, when the fashion models would walk up and down the streets of South Beach, and I wanted to be a photographer. That is what I wanted. But at the same time, my intuition told me that I would live in a foreign country, I would marry a man that was older than me, and I met the man that I later married, and I moved to Mexico, Cancun, Mexico. And this is the crazy thing. I never thought that I would live in Mexico. I didn't speak any Spanish, but when I came to Cancun, I wanted to be a photographer. So I began photographing people locally. Then I became a very well-known photographer. I'd like to stop right there so that you can imagine yourself in your origin story. Where did you begin? How did your career begin? What lit you up? What did you want to do in your life? This type of story, if you have your ideal audience in front of you, they're going to want to know about you. Okay. So I knew I wanted to move to a foreign country, and then I moved to Mexico and I thought there's no fashion here. So I began doing portraits and weddings, and I became one of the most sought after wedding photographers in the region. I photographed thousands of people, hundreds of events. And then I remember thinking, is this all I'm going to do with my life? Have you ever thought that? Thought to yourself, what else am I supposed to do with my life? I ended up having a dream, heard a voice, my inner voice or my higher self say to me, sing, Melissa. So when I was younger, I always loved to sing and dance. I would put shows on for my grandparents. So I became a singer. I started taking singing lessons and dancing lessons. I completely put down my camera and I picked up the microphone and I went to create a singing career where I live. And I created a certain level of local fame. I used my skills as a photographer to brand myself to become famous where I live. It was fun, it was exciting, yet in the process, I lost my vision. I started listening to what everybody told me to do, dress this way, do this, do that. And I lost my footing. Stay here with me. Because if you have a dream that you want to create and you want to be online, but you're blocking yourself from being online, I want you right now to ask yourself, are the opinions of others holding you back? Are the fears of what other people think of you holding you back? How can you be more visible and feel great about it? How can you make it more fun, more profitable? I like to say that visibility is the bridge to new opportunities, influence, and income. As a singer, I lost myself. I became so involved in my ego that I'm a very spiritual person. I mean, we're all spiritual, but my spirituality is what's always guided me. I like to think my spiritual connection is my higher self, my intuition, and it's always guiding me. And so there I was living my dream, but I didn't like who I became. So I literally heard a voice again that said, Melissa, you need to do more with your life. And I stood there in my home that I was in, and I had like this altar, and it was like, you need to change your life. Like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. So through that, I went through a dark spiral. I ended up getting a divorce, and I completely shifted my life. I completely had an identity shift because I wanted to prove to myself that I could be happy without being what other people said I had to do. Can you relate with that? Have you ever, felt pressure from the outside world to create a certain level of success or to act a certain way or be a certain person that you're like, no, that's not who I want to be? And you want to find yourself. Well, if you're an entrepreneur and you're online and you are still finding yourself and your voice and your message and your brand, it's always going to be evolving. You're always going to keep on finding yourself. This is what life is about. Life is the journey. Know thyself. And the crazy thing is, though, that most people avoid knowing themselves because they get lost in the exterior world. So when I got a divorce, I had a lot of work to do. I wanted to get to know myself. I wanted to find inner peace. And so I began with sound meditation. I've always loved health. I've always loved everything that's holistic. One of my first jobs ever when I was growing up in South Florida was working in a health food store. But I didn't want to just work as a nutritionist because I wanted to travel the world. And I thought, well, if I'm a nutritionist, I'm just going to be in a health food store all my life. So I chose photography. But in my dark times, what really kept me was not being more distracted by the outside world. It was really moving in. It was moving in with my breath. It was moving in with my spirituality. It was going within to meet myself. I then went on to study Joe Dispenza. I went to 3 his events. I studied under Bob Proctor. I've read dozens of books. I'm a certified life coach, transformational life coach. Then I went into another certification program. Then I learned more about hypnosis and NLP and reality creation. And then I work with quantum technologies. Like I have a peripheral of tools that I've been able to use so that I learn to love myself even more deeply. And so now you see me here in my online brand. I created an online brand after I got my coaching certification, but I still struggled, even though I had been a photographer, but I was there capturing everyone else's essence and beauty. And then when I was on stage, it took a lot to get over stage fright. And I did get over stage fright, but actually becoming famous like quite quickly, I think caused some fears inside of me. So I've had this on-off relationship with my online business, and something came to me in 2025, especially with AI. I'm going all in. If you have a vision and you know that you want to be showing up with something, and you don't allow yourself to fully show up for your dream and your vision, how will you feel 5 years from now? How will you feel 6 months from now? And these are the type of questions that can really move you forward. So that is my origin story, part of it. But I want to make this video so that you start to think about your origin story. And with that said, I've come up with 30 more prompts that will help guide you to be more visible online. But not only that, that is a bonus within an AI experience that I have created. It's been engineered specifically with my level of expertise through mindset coaching, visibility, helping you really embody this new version of you. So that's what visibility is really about. It's not just about strategies. It's not about post this many times a day, because it's not your strategy. It's something within you, within me, within many of us women online who want to show up more authentically, but there is a story or an identity that we're not aware of. And so I created this AI experience. It's called the Magnetic Woman Visibility Reset. And it's going to help guide you through a series of prompts that will guide you to understand where it's really holding you back. But the beautiful thing is that you're going to create new awarenesses. And when you have these new awarenesses, knowledge is power. So the more you know yourself, the more you can love yourself, the more you can accept yourself. And the more you do that, the more you can show up for your audience. So if you would like to join incredible AI experience, you can find the information in the description below, or you can just leave me the comment below. Magnetic, and I would love to get to know you. Do create your origin story, share it with your audience. If you're not ready for the AI experience, but you'd like to be part of my community, I have created a free 5-step guide. to help you become more visible. So you can get that also in the link below. But thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.